Hi there. This video is not a tutorial on how to build a pond such as this, but more of a video diary of my challenges along the way and the process that I undertook. It might be helpful for anyone who's thinking of building a pond like I have made, and certainly may be able to learn from my mistakes. I hope you enjoy. Finally finished rendering last night. It's been a hell of a job. Never having rendered or done brickwork before, but pretty happy with how it's going. Now, the pond has sat for most of winter as I was up to fiberglassing, and anyway, I suppose I could have put up some kind of waterproofing, but decided to just wait until we had better weather. And so I've cleaned everything up today, sanded around the pipes just so that the fiberglass will adhere to those better, and tried to make the bottom and the corners of the bog filters as smooth as possible, just with a bit of sandpaper, which would chew through my sandpaper, but it did a good job. And so now today I have primed the pond with just one coat of polyurethane. Just mixed it, what is it, 10 mils per 100 litres. Sorry, 10 mils per litre. So that's going off now pretty quickly, and so she'll be ready to actually apply my 2 layers of 450 GSM chop matting. Two coats of glass done now, and 450 GSM. Had to redo some patches, particularly in these filter chambers, as it was really quite difficult to do, like underneath the pipes and getting my head down in there. Had to redo one, quite big patch in that one that had blistered, but all looking pretty good now. Certainly not professional, but I've certainly been patient, gone over and over and over things, and repatched some extra bits just around the top lip where it comes in contact with the render. I know in most designs this glass wraps over, and in hindsight I would do that too, I think, to be on the safe side, but this was the look I was hoping to go for anyway, the rendered top. So but I think that's looking quite well sealed, and with the flow coat lapping over that onto that plastic edging, I'm quietly confident that that's going to seal quite well. So excited now to finally put the sanding behind me and glassing and be onto the flow coat today. First coat of flow coat went on really well, even at 2% catalyst, which I was really nervous about, because at 1% catalyst with my polyester it was going off quicker than what I would have liked, and was reducing that to less than 1%. But with 2%, still it's very workable for a lot longer than the polyester, and I've gone through a lot less of it than I thought I would with one coat. 1.1 litres I've used so far to do a pretty thick first coat, so I'm going to have a lot spare from the 5 litres. It's very, very sticky, very thick, rolls on really well, brushed into the corners nicely. A lot, I thought it would be easy, but it was Most of the jobs I thought would be easy with this project have turned out not to be so easy, but that one certainly was. So, very pleased with that so far, but of course the real test is when you put water in the thing. Does it actually hold water? But it certainly fills the you know, the spaces between the fiberglass strands really well. I think with a second coat it's going to be a fairly flat finish. Certainly a lot flatter than just the glass by itself. Got the waterfall on today. Dynabolted, although I gave up on dynabolts. Pain in the ass, so I've used concrete bolts in the end, which are much easier to use. It's bolted in place. Done all my plumbing. Did most of it on the back of this before mounting up here, so I just had this last piece here to put in place once it was there. I measured all of that up before I even started the whole thing, so I wanted to make this masonry as close to the fence as possible, and so I based it off how tightly I could do that plumbing there. So, and this is the pipe for the electricity cables to go down into. So that comes out this hole here. So cables will come through out here. I've ordered lights last night with a remote control. There'll be 4 lights in here, RGB, all remote, so Ruby can do it infrared from her room, which is, to give you some perspective, right there. And this is the width of her window. So yeah, the cables will just go through that, and then this top part of the tube from here up will be dry. So the cables will be submerged to this point, and that way it just avoids having cables coming over the edge or something like that. I got to get a electricity point going still, but other than that, all I've got to do is put glass in the front. However, glass quote. They wouldn't give me a quote for laminated hardened glass without an engineer's report. However, they gave me a quote for 16mm sheet glass, which wouldn't be thick enough or strong enough anyway, and that alone was $1,600 for that. So to get what I actually would be safe for this would have cost an absolute arm and a leg. So unfortunately I'm going with Perspex, which is about $580 for 20mm. I'll probably go for 22mm though. The downside to that, well, plus side, it's actually 4 times stronger than glass, but the downside is it scratches far more easily. But I'm prepared to buff out scratches to save a fortune. It may also slightly bow at the top here. I've been looking at maybe some kind of stainless steel capping or something to ridgen it up. I'm not sure, but hopefully 22mm it won't bow. The online calculations I've used suggest that that should be okay. But anyway, so I'm ordering the Perspex tomorrow. I've got my pumps on the way, my lighting on the way. So yeah, as soon as I get that Perspex, I should be good to go and fill this thing with water. After some setbacks, had to grind this back as my masonry wasn't sufficiently square. So I had to regrind the top section down to about here, take off all of the fiberglass, grind back the masonry and redo it all. Anyway, then we had to wait for some rain, and today we're finally putting in the acrylic window using Fix 200. Had to order this online, can't get this at local hardware stores, specifically designed for acrylic. I've learnt a lot. No standard silicons are appropriate for acrylic. This is specifically designed for putting things like acrylic windows into boats. You can even put it into hatches and windows that are below the waterline. I wasn't quite sure how much I would need. I was worried I hadn't got enough, and I can't just run out to the hardware store and get more. But I'm very, very relieved that this spread is really good. So I gave the fiberglass a really very light sand with 200, I think, grit sandpaper, just to roughen it up just that little bit. And same with the acrylic here, took off the paper and given it a very, very light sanding there, just so that it so that this Fix 200 adheres hopefully well. Got the acrylic in place, a couple of clamps on each side, and then use the ratchet strap. I only had one, so I ratcheted this one and then popped the red strap on there once it was tight, and then took the ratchet off to use it for the other one. So that's really tight, so much so it's bowing the metal slightly. Squeezed out a fair bit of silicone around the edges. I'll have to touch up, of course, the paint afterwards. But I can tell the seal, certainly along the bottom part here, I can see some little bits where I haven't got, the silicone hasn't been thick enough there. But I can see the whole way along though, certainly up near the top there, that it is sealed. Again, some more gaps here. A few more gaps. A bit of an air pocket there as well, but again it is sealed right across the top. But just to be sure, I'm going to run a bead all the way along this bottom edge, which is actually just off the bottom a little bit, because I've got some spaces here just to get it level with the top. So run a whole bead along there now, and then I think I'll be fairly confident that it's going to be alright. Moment of truth. Finally putting some water in. Got all my plumbing done this morning. It's as tidy as I can seem to make it. I'll have to get some rocks, I think, and mount them up in that corner to hide that. But managed to get all my cables through. Some of the plugs didn't fit. I had to cut plugs off and buy new plugs from the hardware store that I could attach once the cables were through. But that's all neatly organised back here. I'm quite happy with this actually. So all the cables go into this waterproof box, which I'll mount on the back here later. And then in time I'll run electricity along there and join it up to the wall down there underneath the paving, but that can wait. Got my lights in. So this little pump will be running, very, very small pump, but based on all the calculations I've seen online, this should be sufficient to be running 24 hours a day, pumping water into the base of both of the filter chambers. And then we've got the big pump here, which will pump water up the back and out the fountain here, but that'll only be on for aesthetic reasons when we choose to be out. Yoo-hoo-hoo! Just turned it on. So exciting to see the water valve come down. Lights are working. Can't wait to see that later on. And the filter chambers are slowly filling up. So far so good, no leaks. Fantastic. I am very pumped. Just filled up, just started dribbling out. It's a really good rate on the bog filter. Fanciest looking bog filter I've seen. Planning on putting some shade cloth across here. Just a small, maybe 4 by 1.5 to 2 metre shade sail, with the intention of that blocking the view of sight for water birds. Where we live, there's lots of water birds fly across here at quite a high altitude. I don't want mesh just sitting on top of the pond. I think that looks really awful. So I'm hoping that by shielding the top of it, that just taking away that line of sight will hopefully stop them coming down. We don't get them coming down, you know, into the yard or so on anyway. So hopefully that will do. The intention all along was for my daughter to be able to have something to view from her bedroom. So here's that view. Need to clean the windows. It's been quite a few weeks since since any last video. I had quite a bit of trouble with some just pinhole leaks, and speaking to local boat builders and fiberglass experts, ended up going with using some epoxy, which I had tinted black, so it'd be okay in the UV, and this will be under shade as well. And that did the trick, no worries, on just sealing up some tiny pinholes that I had in the large section and also this filter. I did the same on this filter here, but I still had just really small, and I am talking about minor leaks, but you know, when you got into this much trouble, I don't want any leaks at all. So I was still getting just a tiny bit of dampness just underneath this tap here. And it certainly was really difficult fiberglassing down inside the filter, around those outlet pipes being down so low, and very difficult to get your head down in there. And of course you've got the fumes and you've got a mask on and so on, and you know, trying to see if you've got every last pinhole, even though I'd had numerous coats of flow coat, and then I think I ended up 3-4 coats of epoxy as well, and yet still I had some dampness. So I didn't want to do this, but in the end I did put some bitumized rubber, a couple of coats in here, just to make sure that that hole was sealed up, and that's certainly done the trick. I've haven't had any water in it for it's been about 17 days, I suppose. I'm supposed to wait about 21, but look, I got impatient. Anyway, that's held water perfectly this morning. No leaks whatsoever. So I'm now starting to fill up the filter chambers. So I've used for the gap at the bottom where you want things, sediment to be able to settle and so on. I've used some of this drainage plastic in each of those filters. That's worked really well. And then I've just used limestone rocks I had lying around the house, so they've gone in on top. And now I'm just proceeding to put some smaller stones. I had river pebbles in excess, so I'm just using those, and they're going in now. So they'll fill up to perhaps about this height here, and then I'll start to go to gravel that I can plant into. So it's been a very, very long wait, but I am very excited now to get these things planted, get it filled up, turn the fountain on just because it's fun, and then I will leave that with some plants in for a while. Look, I don't have any signs on this, but I'm just going to leave it for a while. I'll check the pH, and I'm going to get some fish in here, which is very exciting. So hopefully the next video will have this thing running again, and soon there'll be some fish. It's been 24 hours or so now since I filled up the pond again, and I am very relieved. There are no leaks anywhere, no dampness, water level hasn't gone down at all. Everything's working as it should. Well, pond update, still no leaking, all good. That's my son enjoying the pond on a nice warm day whilst we got no fish or anything in there. And I've got the waterfall plugged into a Wi-Fi adapter now in the waterproof box in the back here. So now I can turn the fountain on and off with an app from my phone. I'm going to connect that to our Google Home system as well, so that my daughter from her bedroom can just, you know, talk to her little Google Mini and turn that on when she wants, and put the lights on with the remote as she pleases as well. Just got to get some plants.
It's probably
no. It's probably
No.
never been in something. First tiny weeny little fishy.
Hey Google, turn on the waterfall.